Check, check, microphone check. I don't know what it is.
It's the one on the left side. There's the microphone on. No, it's not the. It's.
Mine's on. I know where mine is, and I can tell my voice is,
Yeah, but
registering.
even when that buttons push, those go up.
But I don't know what. Like this one's on. No, that's how you know that you're registering. But
So you were talking without those on?
no, he had the whole audio turned off for the whole thing. Like he didn't reboot it or something. I don't know. It was something weird. Like there was nothing I ever did before. Hello, anybody out there? Let me know if you can hear me. We just kicked the stream on. We had a fun little game here. We got some doubles going on with Mike Snodgrass and Jody Zini leading each team. Jody's taking AJ out with him. And Mike Snodgrass is playing with Rodney Gailey. Rodney's two lovely daughters are over playing on the little table. Happy July 3rd, everybody. Or anybody out there yet? I'm just firing this up, playing a little bit, having a little fun. If anybody's out there that needs something to do, you got a little game to watch. Jody's the best player on the table. Snodgrass is next. Rodney Gailey will be behind him, and then AJ. The normal tournament sense you guys hear me talk about, you can call Jody a 10 or an 11 possibly. Mike would be an 8-ish, maybe a 9. He's getting to that level. He shoots straight. Rodney'd be more like a 7, and AJ more like a 5. He knows, I don't know. I guess in that grand scheme of things, he'd be like a 6-ish on that big of a scale maybe, but. Oh, I didn't change that title.
Roy's Basement lost like $6,000 today.
Who?
Roy's Basement.
Oh, wow.
That Christina talked. She played some dude even. He won 2 sets, 11-5 and 11-7. They gave the guy the 7 and the 10 against Omar Al-Shaheen. Omar was up 5-0 and lost 11-9.
Oh. I forgot to change the title. I'm going to try to do that now. I don't do it very often, so I don't know if I'm going to get it done or not. Maybe Mr. Perky will be out there later on and can help us out a little bit. You never know. I might figure it out.
Sierra's shooting him one-handed, the guy's shooting him two, and he's losing 2-1. What was that at? They're in Maryland. That dude who's like the financial backer for like Dennis Okoye and the young kid James Aranis and another one come from Maryland. They can like go to his place and train a 9-foot table in his on Wednesday night. They'll get 20,000 people watching it. You'll have like Dennis Okoye just practicing like straight pool for 3 hours, and people will come in and copy, chat the whole time. People believe in pools. I'm like, bet. I'm like, screw that.
What's up, Cookie Man? So I guess you can hear me. I'm changing. Looks like I got the scoreboard up there. I didn't get it to reset the old score yet. Hit every button at least 7 times. Oh, great. Well, I got it all turned on. I don't know if you can hear any of the balls clicking or anything banging around out there. If you can hear the music out there, I don't know how to turn this background sound on like John does. I don't know if he's shown me at least 3 times yet. If not, I have not learned it. But like I said, we just put on a little game to have a little fun here tonight. Some guys showed up. I didn't know if we'd be open or not. You just kind of never know around the summer around here. Some nights we're extremely busy, and some nights I sit here by myself, sell a few cues and cases, which is what the Players Club does. I'm a dealer for JB Cases, and I sell some pool cues, used and new. I have access to anything dealer. I can get you good deals on anything new, and I always carry about 50, 60 used cues. I also have a bunch of cool T-shirts. I'd love it if you came by and picked one up. It means a lot to me to support the little club that I got. Try to keep this place rolling for everybody. A nice place to play. It's not your usual drunken bar nonsense. Good equipment.
Everywhere I go, you sweat. Yep. And there you go.
All right. I don't know if they've played multiple games or anything yet or not. But Rodney is straightish on a 4-ball. Looks like the 8's out off the rail, so this really shouldn't be a difficult. He just needs to make this ball. The 8 should be very pocketable from anywhere over on this side rail. Ideally, you get a nice little bounce there so your partner can shoot off the rail. Yeah, Mike's playing pretty good pool right now. He's not real seasoned yet, but he's kind of learned a few ways to pocket some balls pretty good, even though he tried to fuck that one up. But he's learned a few ways to pocket some balls pretty good. So yeah, we got home from Olathe. We went Friday night just for the Calcutta, and we actually came back Friday night. We started out the Calcutta and bought Justin Bergman in the first blind for $1,200. Bustamante went next, and he actually went for $1,300. These were all blind bids, so it's kind of funny how that went. Our thinking is Justin is probably the second best bar box player in the country. Possibly third, and he was definitely the best bar box player there in my estimation. The scary part is he hasn't been getting there lately. He didn't do well up in Indianapolis, and he didn't do real well in it's another bar box tournament he was in, and he lost to Chuck Ralston down in Poplar Bluff. He's had a couple rough tournaments, and so, but we still figured he's the best guy there, and we got him for a good value. We thought at $1,200, it's normally a really good Calcutta there. So, hang on.
I'll see you later. She gave me the most puzzled look or whatever, and the guy texts me. He goes, "Yeah, they'll be here tomorrow."
All right. Yeah. So anyway, we bought Justin. Then Bustamante went for $1,300. After Bustamante, there was possibly Shane McMinn, I think, for around $1,100. Raymond Ferrone around $1,000, and Chip Compton around $900. Those were the best 5 players in the room on paper. And it didn't turn out that way. Raymond Ferrone took down first, with Chuck Ralston sneaking in to take second place, who, when he's playing good on a bar box, is just as good as anybody else on a bar box. And he was certainly on that day from what it sounds like. So he actually beat Justin for 7th, 8th place, which is what Justin finished. Not exactly sure where everybody else finished, though. I think Austin Summers, a young man, finished 7th, 8th also. Some good news, Brett Allen Snowden, if you're a St. Louis boy, you know his name. He's a Facebook junkie. He finished in the cash, which was really an accomplishment. I think he should have been really proud of himself for that. And then, let's see, who else? I know Chip Compton finished real high. I would assume it was somewhere around 3rd, maybe 4th. I know he was right there, basically. And Greg Hogue, I think I saw his name real late in the brackets. Trying to think if I can think of anybody else, guys, for you, but that's about all. Yeah, so it was not a good tournament for us. We lost, a little over half our money. So not a good day for us. But that's what happens when you go to Calcutta's. We were on a nice roll there for a while, and we still are actually getting money back. But that one's stung a little bit. Nothing terrible, but we'll move on to the next one. I'd like to go up to Iowa. There's a good tournament going on up there at the end of the month, but or next week actually. But I just don't know if I feel like going out of town again. It's hard being away from the club, number one, and number two, I just get tired of the car. I live 3 miles from here and I run a lot, so I just don't know if I want to go sit my butt in a car for all the time. So I tried to stir up some action for St. Louis over there. I talked to Chip Compton and Shane McMahon, both about coming through to play a little with Justin. They both seemed amenable to it. It's just tough putting schedules together. I talked to Big Truck about bringing Bustamante through here. It's going to be real tough with his schedule. He is going to Iowa, so, I'm like, dude, you're 4 hours away. Let's figure this out. But he's got a pretty tight schedule from now until he goes to back to Vegas for an event. So I think he's leaving straight from Iowa to go there. So we'll try to work out something with Big Truck at some point. Yeah, so that's the way they do the Calcutta and Olathe. They do all blind bids till you get down to where nobody's bidding $100 anymore, and then they just go straight down the player list. So a $100 player in Olathe is still like a, in Jake's tournament, they would be still like an 11. That's about what a $100 player might go for. Or that might be what they would be. Some really decent players, go for 20, 30, 40 bucks, that you think is a good player. But, when you get mixed in with those 5 monsters that were in the tournament, mixed with the next 5 guys, and those 10 guys are going to get to the cash, and then so you're playing for, not a lot of money, and there's a lot of guys that play awful good, that are mixed in that next 30 guys, and when you're talking short races on a bar box, it's not that anybody can win, but the closer you are together, the more possible it is. I don't remember exactly who the next kind of batch of players were off the top of my head. But there's always a nice field of players up there and a group of guys that can play, and there's people that come in from all over town. It was really lacking the top-level players. Like John Gabriel wasn't there, and, Skyler wasn't there, who's usually there. I think he was at that doubles tournament with Shane Van Boning. Joey wasn't there from the Chip and Joey show, Joey Gray. It was missing, a lot of elite players and even some, just below that level, low-level pros. It was just missing. It just wasn't. They still had a lot of players. It was a successful tournament, don't get me wrong. Just for some reason didn't bring out the high-profile guys. Now, I will say this. The Calcutta, while I love Danny and Evelyn and I love the place, it seems like, the first place paid $2,500. We're dropping $1,200 for Justin, and the first place is only, getting 1-to-1 on our money. That's not great business, and part of it's because they take money out of the Calcutta for the tournament directors. Whether you agree with it or not, I'm glad they're upfront about it, and we know about it because it really makes you wonder, and it changes your money odds for what you're doing, when they take out that much money for it. But, I don't believe that most of the top players buy half themselves unless they have stake horses and things with them. So I know we've bought a lot of people, and frequently we don't, the other half doesn't get bought, or it gets quartered out and things like that.
every shot. Really? She made every one of them. We had a bunch of tournament kind of Kenny's, but then she's like, man, what's the problem here? She goes, it's supposed to be the opposite way. I said, I don't know, you scared me, I guess.
You know, that was a hard part for Justin. We were talking about this earlier. He, going back to like, I don't know, it was like March or April. You know, I saw him out somewhere. I can't remember where it was. Well, first of all, you have to go back to, Derby City. So you travel that whole month. There's all kinds of stuff going on. In January. And then I think there was an Olathe tournament in February. So he was traveling quite a bit. And then he came home for a short period of time. And then took off in like April for Vegas for like a month. I want to say he was gone. And then he comes home, or he went to Indianapolis right before we went to Vegas. So he was gone to Indianapolis for a few days and then back home for a few days. And then he drove to Vegas and then gone for a month and then back home. And then, now a few other little tournaments. And luckily he's had a few near home that he's gotten in. But, yeah, he's on the road a ton. Imagine being away from your home for a month. I just went on vacation for like 10 days. And it just, the last 2 days, I'm like, man, I'm tired of switching beds and switching places and eating out and just not being settled and wearing the exact same clothes and shoes and socks. And it's hard to pack enough stuff to just go somewhere for, a month. Now he drove, so I guess he got to bring whatever he wanted with him, but still living out of a car is still tough too. They're all alternatives though. There's always bussing tables, there's working at a pool hall. There's all kinds of ways to make money in this world. I'm telling you, if I had the opportunity to make money playing pool and traveling, I might do it. Other than the fact that, I love my family, want to be home with my family. Yeah, Shane does do it. And he does do it all the time. I don't know what his family situation is exactly, but I know he really values his time when he gets to go fishing and he gets to come home and he gets to spend time, doing other things. Keep in mind, he is in a situation where he can do whatever he wants. If he doesn't want to play, he doesn't have to play. He has money. He has a situation set up where he's successful. He has, a lot of things going from everything I've heard. Now, I can't confirm that. I don't know him personally, and I don't know, I've seen up front everything exactly what he has, but I've heard he's doing really, really well for himself. I do know that it seems like he makes about $150,000 every year, for the last 10 or 15 years, or 10 or 12 years anyway. So, I imagine he's doing okay for himself. Justin, on the other hand, he's done really well in a bunch of tournaments. They're not the same kind of tournaments that Shane's won, and they haven't paid out the kind of money Shane's won. Shane's won a bunch of, 20s and 30s, 40s, $50,000, at a time kind of things, he's made $50,000 just going to Derby before. And I would imagine he stakes himself, and I know he has some sponsors, including Q-Tech and stuff like that. So, he's making money. Justin, on the other hand, is making money, but he's often, staked and cut up and things like that. And it's hard to really put anything together. It's a tough life, but it is also what you make of it. You can make a lot out of it if you choose to, and if you really work hard and plan well and manage your money well. I've been a restaurant manager and a hotel guy my whole life. I've just been smart with my money and worked hard and worked 2 jobs when I needed to and got a house and worked hard and paid on it and this and that. And, it's, people could say, oh, that guy won't bet anything. Well, I bet what I'm comfortable betting that doesn't affect anything else in my life, and you can call it exactly what you want, and I wrote a piece about this a long time ago that had to do with, the difference between a nit and a gambler and the respect that people have for each one and this and that. If you're a go-off artist and you just waste all your money, you're just an idiot. Nobody has any respect for you at all. You're just a loser. But if you're a cool guy, if everybody likes you and you bet everything in your pocket, then you're a well-respected gambler and everybody knows he'll bet his last nickel. He's not afraid. He's not scared. He'll do, he'll bet it all his own. What's the difference between the two? And then tell me this. A nit, a guy that supposedly won't bet unless, won't bet water's wet, won't bet he's standing in the room, won't bet, blah, 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 blah. They call him a nit. So if you're nitty, you're a nit. That's not very well respected. Now if you're a winner, you know, and you make a bunch of money and you're always winning and you're on a hot streak and you're beating up on everybody and you know, you can't lose and things like that, and you're a cool guy and people like you, well, now you're well respected again. So careful what and why you're respected in this world. 'Cause people choose some funny reasons sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can make this. Yeah. Yep, that's all you gotta do. You just get anywhere where I can see the full ball. Anywhere past get the second diamond or roll it. I've been shooting when you as soon as I bring it back, I feel that tightness in the shoulder, I know I'm good. Not big in there. You're fine.
Hello, Mr. Dwayne Spears. Shame, I guess we won't be seeing you tomorrow night. I apologize I wasn't able to get you a pass to come into St. Louis. You have to stay over in Illinois where you belong for the day. And don't either one of you sneaky Illinois bastards be sneaking over here to get gas. You pay your taxes over there where you live. Chumps. No, I'm just kidding. Come over here and pay taxes. We'll take them.
Yes. Gotta put a little more spin on it.
Illinois, they're a special kind of state, aren't they? You know, don't get me wrong. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I like the constant promises. And one of the things, if you ever look at like your personal property tax here in St. Louis, or you look at like one of those taxes where they break everything down where your money's going, like, you know, when it says like, you know, 10% to this education and 10% to law enforcement and 5% to roads and you know, 1% to teachers and 1% to the police bump and 0.5% to gas tax and a quarter, you know, it cuts taxes up everywhere. Crazy, all the stuff you pay for. Well, in Illinois, like they have all these, like, you know, they've got casinos, they've got horse race, you know, tracks, they've got gas taxes out the wazoo, sin taxes, they've got, you know, one of the biggest cities in the country. Maybe in the world, I don't know. Definitely in the country. They've got, you know, I mean, just, you would think buku dollars, you know, and all kinds of things coming in. But God bless that state stays broke all the time, it seems like. And I don't know where all the taxes that they promised people from the casinos were going to, you know, education. It didn't work. And all the money that's supposed to go to roads, man, I drove those roads for a long time, man, and they just seemed like they were always under construction, but I never saw anybody working. I drove that nightmare to O'Fallon, Illinois for years, man, between two different hotels there. Yeah, I'm telling you. Well, man, Illinois, they got these, I mean, they're really like laying it. I mean, they got these townships over there too I'm learning about that are they've got money where they have money left. Like the towns are saying they're broke, they can't afford these payments they're supposed to make, but they've never missed a payroll check to the township. But what good does it have? Why is people paying into a township that's supposed to give money? It's like charities where, you know, where you know, half the money go to the people that run the charity. It's like, you know, why can't people just donate the money to where it actually like gets, you know, all used? Yeah, I said the syntax. That's what I mean. The syntaxes over there are nuts. You know, and it's you know, like I said, lottery should have fixed it, horse racing should have fixed it, the casinos should have fixed it, the, you know, original gas taxes that are already higher than everything in Missouri should have fixed it. The, you know, strip clubs revenue should have fixed it. I mean, what else do you guys got to do over there? You know, legalize prostitution and sell marijuana. You know, it's one of the you know, I can't remember which comedian, but he said, you know, well, no shit, the government, you know, in Illinois specifically, I've seen both, are starting, you know, they're starting to sell weed. You know, that's what you do when you're broke and desperate. You know, it was a black comedian, and he, you know, it was just, I guess the way he set it up, it was funnier than the way I'm going to set it up, but it's no joke. I mean, they are broke and desperate. You know, nobody's trying to legalize marijuana just for no reason. You know, they want the revenue. They want the money. You know, They didn't ship casinos in here just because, people wanted to gamble. They shipped it in here because they want their money. Oh, you guys also got machines over there, like in every bar and restaurant and everywhere else in Illinois, too. I'm telling you, you guys have more ways to come up with taxes than anybody I've ever seen. The only thing you do, I don't think you guys pay personal property tax over there, which is a huge money grab we get over here. I pay about $1,000 a year on 2 cars for personal property tax, which I don't think you guys have to pay. I think you also pay less sales tax over in Illinois on cars and shit like that. But you'll rake in some money in weed, but only until Missouri gets it, and then it'll kill Illinois again. Yeah, I don't know about the size and where all the casinos are in Illinois. I just know this area, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Like I said, I don't know where else they have casinos other than Alton, and they are small, but I don't know why they're small. I mean, I don't know why they can't be bigger or better or whatever. I don't know. It's just a shame, though, with everything that they have, and it seems like they have a lot of resources that they can't, be a greater state, if you will. Yeah, the 4 to 5 machine locations, but yeah, there's billions of them. I mean, God bless, man. Every pool hall, restaurant, bar, sandwich shop, gas station. You name it. Every one of them's got them over there. It's insane. It's kind of like down in Cape Girardeau, Please don't say anything, anybody out there, what I'm waiting to hear. Yeah, they're around. They're everywhere. Probably in the library. They should put them in the police station, out in the waiting room. You know how long people sit out there waiting for people? They'd make a fortune there. It's not hanging out. It's just truckers, people resting, people that run in there, people gambling problems, and they just, it's also could be the closest place to their house. They don't want to drive all the way to a casino. That's the way it is in Cape. Especially when they didn't have a casino there. They had to come all the way to St. Louis to play anything. But if they could just run up to the, to the old gas station and fire off their 20s. I'll admit, that's one of the things I liked about going to the casino. I'd go to the buffet, and then I'd go drop my 20 and play some video poker, and then take off, and it was like my little entertainment for the week, And that's kind of like maybe what those people do. They go out and, run to the gas station, get gas, play their 20, 30, 40 bucks, and, whatever. Yeah. I don't know those exact highways, man, but like I said, I know they're everywhere over there. They're all over the place. They're everywhere's got them. I don't blame them. I would too. I'd have them all over the place too if I was over there. But that's what I'm saying, though. They collect taxes on all that money, though. And that's what I'm saying. They're maximizing their tax revenue over there. They tax the shit out of you. You're like Central California or some shit. Who's the biggest winner in your gas tax was the guy whoever owns the gas station over there off Telegraph. I don't know if there's a closer one to Illinois, gas station to Illinois than that one or not, but maybe that one up on the way to the Alton, on the way to Alton, that one on 367 Northway up there.
People on the stream going, look at these bunch of horrible sons of bitches.
These guys are talking about how bad they're playing, and I always tell everybody, they're like, no, I don't want to play on the stream. I'm like, why? I'm like, you're terrible, number one, and number two, you're going to look like you play way worse than you really do on the stream. It's not easy, like, I mean, it's not easy to look like a great player on a live stream because everybody's capable of completing most of the same shots. And so, I know, like, when I watch myself play, I find it hard to believe that I miss the balls that I miss. I'm like, well, how did you miss that, man? I mean, it's amazing that the amount of focus that pros have and that they're able to stay that focused for that long, to play that perfect for that long. I mean, throw out the hard shots. It's that they never miss those easy ones like we do. Most of the shots I miss are easy. I don't miss a lot of hard shots because, number one, I don't shoot them. I either play safe or I try something different, or I play two-way or something different. But an easy shot, I mean, you're definitely trying to pocket and put the cue ball where you want. And those are the ones that I generally will miss. I'll overspin it, overmove it, over-twist it, turn it, bend it, you name it, dog it, poodle it, what have you. Oh yeah, that sounds terrible, Cookie. I was paying both taxes. I was a general manager at a hotel in Illinois and a general manager at a restaurant in Clayton. And I was paying both taxes, and I mean, we just got brutally raped and pillaged back like 3 years ago. I think 3 or 4 years. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, it just horrible. And for years it went on like that, and we finally turned around for us. And I'm not going to get into any of that, but yeah, listen to you, Dwayne Spears. You're not allowed to say that, Mister. Running 6 banks in a row, six bank shots in a row, Mister Dwayne Paul Spears. Ain't nobody buying it no more, sucker. But yeah, living in the city, man, that's the other thing. Like, I've gotten hired in the city, and like nobody told me anything about the city tax. I had no idea. It's the first time I see my paycheck, I'm expecting it to be something. I'm like, what is this? It's like, I mean, I understand that all these like, it should be more uniform to me, like what everybody pays and where they pay and how. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem right that that two individual Americans living X number of feet apart from each other can pay that much different. Now, having said that, I also am a states' rights guy, so I think every state should be allowed to do it the way they want to do it. And you know what? If you don't like it in Illinois, don't live there. Move over to Missouri. And same thing for Missouri. If you want to live over in Illinois with strip clubs and casinos and machines and everything else Illinois has to offer, move over there. You know what I mean? It's why I like states' rights. You can live amongst the people you choose to live amongst in the way of life you choose to live. I want everybody to get to live their life and be happy. Cookie, I mean, yeah. The city's got a lot of problems, man, when it comes to money and taxes. But half the city residents fleeing and not paying taxes leaves all those taxes to be paid by the other half of the people. And it doesn't work. Just talking about taxes, city taxes, and Illinois raising their gas taxes and stuff like that. Not really political. What? CDL licenses? Huh. Wow.
You're going to have businesses fleeing.
Yeah. Maybe that's good for Missouri. If Illinois is going to raise all those taxes like that, some of these companies could move over here to Missouri. I totally understand that in the family thing. I do. And that's one of the reasons I live where I live. I live, a mile from my mom and, 10 miles from my brother and, a few miles. I mean, I live close by most of my family, and it's, now my wife is 2.5 hours away from her family, but we talk about it all the time. Like, number one, where would we move? And we could get into all that. But number two, do you really want to be that far away from your family? And it's not just easy to pick up everybody in a family and who's getting left behind and can't leave and why they won't and whatever. And, I totally understand that, but yeah, I hear you. Oh yeah, like I said, man, I feel you, but you know, I don't know. I don't know how to fix Illinois. I just don't. I just, you know, I mean, I'd hate to tell you the alternative of living in St. Louis City, which is as close as you can get to Illinois, but I would certainly wouldn't advocate for that, you know. But man, go live in South County somewhere. You know, you can live in Arnold. You can have a nice home and still be 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away from your family. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of beautiful parts of Illinois and things about Illinois and this and that, but you just can't tax your people to death, man. Just can't. I don't know the answer, but I just, you know, you really, you really have to dig down deep to figure out, you know, what and where all of the state's money goes and how much they bring in, you know, and how much they pay out and what and why and where and all the audits and everything. You know, I can't answer all the questions because I haven't dug into it at all, but, and even if I could, I don't know that I'm smart enough to figure it out, but, you know, why one state could be rich and another state be dead poor and one state have to tax their living hell out of their, you know, residents and another state not have to. And, you know, some states have no state income taxes and some state, I mean, I can't figure that all out. You know, I just don't know the answer to why it works and why it doesn't. I've never really studied it. However, yeah, like I said, I don't know. I don't know where all Illinois' money goes. They've got a huge city in Illinois. I mean, obviously Chicago's a massive city. You would think it would generate a ton of income for the state. You know, and you know, like I said, I just don't know enough about the rest of the, you know, farmland and other areas of Illinois that exist. You know, to understand why it's a poor state. I don't know. So I can't answer that. You know, like I said, I don't know enough about all the different states. I know the ones you hear about, obviously, with, you know, Las Vegas and Texas and Florida and state income taxes, and you hear about, you know, all different kinds of different taxes in different states. You know, like I said, the personal property tax here, welfare. I'd go back and look at that. I bet you'd see differently that the state doesn't spend as much on welfare as you think they would. There's got to be some statistics out there what the state spends all the money on, you know, and what they bring in. Like I said, I don't know the answers to it. It doesn't look like they're doing it with education. It doesn't look like they're doing it fixing roads. It doesn't look like they're doing it improving the safety of Chicago. You know, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know what they do with it. No answer. I'd be frustrated though. You know, you don't pay personal property tax. I mean, that's $1,000 most families get away with. You know, you don't pay as much sales tax when you buy a car. It's another thing you get away with. You know, so I mean, I just don't know what taxes need to be raised and lowered and fixed and this and that. I don't have a big problem with sin taxes because sins generally, you know, cause more police to be needed for the safety of other people. You know, so to me, if I don't have a problem with the police having, you know, a couple of extra police officers to be on guard at night to make sure people aren't driving drunk, you know, killing people, you know, or to make sure people are driving safe. You know what I mean? I think it's a integral part of our society. You know, so, and I think people should pay taxes on alcohol so that money can go to field the money for those officers to police that specific thing. That's the way, to me, a tax is supposed to work. You know, a certain amount of our income taxes should go to fixing roads, a certain amount go to education, a certain amount go to, you know, different things a state's supposed to provide. You know, but if you say a tax is supposed to go somewhere and things are supposed to be a certain way, I just don't understand how that state stays the way it stays. You know, it seems like they've come up with new taxes and new taxes and new taxes. It's not solving the problem. I don't think dreaming up new ways to, you know, new taxes and new ways to call them taxes and new people to taxes has always got to be the answer. I know what Bernie says. Just tax that 1%. You know, here's my view on politicians, though, and this I've got a big problem with people always saying that they should get 50 grand a year and no pensions and no this and no that. Who the fuck do you want to run the country? Restaurant managers? You know, do you want grocery store managers to run the country? You know, do you want pool room managers to run the country? Do you want mortgage loan officers to run the country? Do you want bad used car salesmen to run the country? Because do you want a painter that works, 3/4 of the year? I mean that's who makes 50 grand a year. I mean, not the smartest people that I want to hire to run my country. I don't want my congressman making 50 grand a year. You're out of your mind. I expect people that have graduated from Harvard and Yale and a few places like that, mixed in with some local functioning business folks and things like that. I don't want the dumbest goddamn people we can find running our country. Don't get me wrong. It needs to be diversified without being diversified by intelligence.
Worked with my fucking body my whole life, and
Yeah, goddamn it, right.
I feel it.
You know what? Chick-fil-A does a lot of things wrong in people's eyes, but running a goddamn drive-thru isn't one of them, man. They recognize the business levels and that if they don't have a goddamn line all the way out to the street, the people will actually get in it. And they're fast, man. I don't mind. You can get a line at McDonald's with 8 cars in it and be there for an hour. And my food's still going to be wrong. At Chick-fil-A, it's more than likely going to be right, and I'm going to be in and out of there in like 15 minutes. I don't care if there is 40 cars in line.
You're fine?
I was trying to get you on there.
That was smart. That was
You know,
yeah, you're good.
But like I say the same thing about the Cardinals too. I don't really care anymore. I just want to win. I'm tired of all the excuses and reasons why we can't win and why other guys are winning and blah 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 blah. We just haven't. I mean, fuck, we haven't been in the playoffs in 5 years. That's just not good. We're a historic franchise, man. We should be there almost every year, and we were for a long time. Just fallen off, man. The last 4 or 5 years. That's all we ask for, man. We want the best to run our organizations, our state, our city, country, whatever it might be. And it sucks when things aren't poor. I mean, we've all worked for bad run restaurants, bad run, hotels, car dealerships, whatever you work for. You've all worked for bad bosses, bad companies, bad this, bad that. Then you're going to Mexico. They do a lot of things right. They do a lot of things wrong too there, though. Viva la Mexico, my friend, though. Viva la Mexico, our good friends.
I like her the best.
Well, I figured it out. The first time I said it was all on. Second, I'm like, yeah, she was nuts, but damn.
You can really get in a lot of trouble here and say something along the line. We need a lot more Mexicans over here.
It's me. I like fucking crazy chicks. We do. I've been married for 19 years. We got her over 20 and a half.
Daniel, you need to go back to Mexico, find all the other good Mexicans like you, my friend, and bring them all over here. We need a whole bunch of you motherfuckers. My brother knows a bunch of good Mexicans too, man. There's some good people. They would definitely benefit the country to be here.
Cut that ball.
But I am a wholeheartedly believer in everybody coming in legally, everybody knowing exactly who's in our country and why, and be a contributor. Yeah, I know. That's why I used your job as an example, Cookie. But I'm not saying it's an easy job. All I'm saying is you're not qualified to run the country. You're not qualified to run the state, and you're not qualified to even run a city. There's an enormous amount of skill and things that go involved in all of that, and we don't have them. And that's not who you want running the goddamn country, I don't think. That's why I laugh when people say that shit. I mean, do you know what a general manager at a hotel, at a big hotel, a decent sized hotel anyway? Let's just say for easy money, they make $100,000 a year. A president at a bank, what do they make? $250,000 a year, something like that. What do top executives at medium level businesses make that kind of money? Things like that. I mean, you just can't tell me that you want, your elected official making $50,000 a year. What in the world? What incentive do they have to do their job and do it well and do it right? Yeah, there is, Daniel. There's good and bad people all over. Every sector you can find it. You know, I'm not opposed to term limits, other than the fact that if people, want to keep reelecting the same person to their district, I find it hard to say that we should not allow it. You know, but if I were those districts, man, I'd really question, like, what have you really done for me? Like, I don't know. I really don't know an enormous amount about the exact setup of our Congress and Senate. And I don't know how I feel about term limits. Yeah, I don't want anybody in for an indefinite period, but I don't know about them keep getting voted in, 20.2 billion. Yeah, I just don't know if that's a great thing or not. If they keep voting the guy in, I mean, I don't know what to say, man. The city of Belleville has been an established, city for a long time, man. I know they were all angry with that mayor for losing the hospital over to O'Fallon. That was a big deal. I went through a lot of those discussions. That was pretty wild.
Oh, is it? I seen this.
58.
I seen that. I thought it was like an add-on.
I think it's just the thing that makes it not snap in the middle.
One of the problems I have as far as voting goes is I don't understand why we can't vote on all kinds of other shit. Why it has to be left to politicians to make, like building a goddamn wall. I don't know why we can't vote on that shit. Like, why can't it just be on the ballot and we all vote for it? If we want it, we want it. If we don't, we don't. Abortion should be voted on too, as far as I'm concerned, and it should be voted on state by state.
Says like on here supposedly that's supposed to like make it stronger, so this can't like push through the wood joint or whatever.
Is that one you had the Dominator shaft made for?
This is
You had all them blanks in.
Hey guys.
he still has both of them. This is a Dominator, and I
Breaks my heart to even have the abortion discussion because of the stakes involved in it. It's a horrible catch-22. It's a horrible. What was the wise guy and the
I thought that was a,
cut the baby in half?
that's actually in the shaft.
yeah, it's made that way. This one's the same.
I just assumed it was a.
Yeah, I don't. I really don't know a ton about welfare, but I would have thought that it would have been a much smaller number than that. That shocks me, actually.
It just looked like
You know,
extension.
the thing that I don't understand is I feel like that that a system could be set up much better than that. That would involve doing some of the work that we export to other countries due to cheaper labor. That we could figure out a way to accomplish here while accomplishing a daycare system with the exact same people that are on welfare to watch the people's kids who can work so that everybody can make money and prosper. And I think there'd be a way to work all that shit out.
So they had no idea how it went there.
No, I'm thinking I'm gonna hit 4 of the 15 one to 2. Up, buddy.
I had to hit the 11. I think I got through. You just give me a place to put that in.
Yeah, like I said, it sounds like a lot of money. I don't know their exact welfare system or what it pays for or what it doesn't or how or why and this and that, or if that includes unemployment and things like that. I don't know what all that includes. It sounds like a high number, man. I'm not a heartless SOB though, where I want to leave a bunch of people behind, man. I want to put them in a program though to succeed. And like I said, if that involves, there's some people that really can't work, man, and I don't want them to be just left behind. They just can't work. But then there's also a lot of people that probably could, and there's people that can do things, even though it, that may not involve a work, but it can involve daycare, so other people can work. It can involve, some of the factory type stuff we send across seas now that involves stuff you could even do, that anybody could do. Some assembly type stuff, things like that. Some government type jobs of things that nobody else, can or would do for those prices. There's ways to get that stuff done.
Tonight,
Well, that's what he said.
no, when he played, that's the only thing he does better.
Yeah, I would hope those rules would be clean. I want people to have dignity and stuff like that. And if I'm more for a short-term assistance program though than a long-term one. I'd rather give people a real chance than just something that they are going to become dependent on. I'd rather say here's your one-time down payment on a place to stay and a this or that and the other and a chance to get a job and move on with life and keep you from being homeless. And I don't know. I think there's other ways to do it though than putting somebody on a long-term dependent thing like that. And I think there's other ways of making people who are on those programs to work and to cut down daycare prices, which is a big problem. I mean, it's so expensive to put kids in daycare, and if you're a single mother or even if you're a family, it's difficult to do that. And I think there's ways that the federal government could orchestrate ways for people to get back to work. And solve some of those issues for them together. That's my point. Like I think they should get more of like a one-time $2,000 assistance package that with a government guarantee to put them in an apartment, a house, a thing like that. $1,000 down payment on that with another $1,000 to provide some to get you all set up and anybody can virtually get a job these days. I mean, it's just, God, everywhere's begging for people, so I mean, it just, I just know from working in hotels and restaurants that you can get a job, and I know that if you're really able to work, and do labor, you can get a job working outside. There's places you can work, man. There's people looking for work. You got to be willing to do it.
If anybody comes around, they don't go back.
Yes, once she graduates.
Well, the problem is if the federal government, like, I don't want to have to pay people to work in the federal government to go find people jobs and make them work that don't want to work. And it's not that I want to leave people behind, but like I said, at some point, like, it's not, I don't want a bigger government. I don't want the federal government to be stepping in and solving those problems that I think states should solve for themselves. And like I said, I'd make being, I think there's a lot of solutions, that wouldn't be that difficult to accomplish.
Got his headset on. I know. Oh, he should be able to hear us through the actual He might have the mic off. The other day he talked for an hour.
Who's I Am Mike? Is that Mike Malter?
He talked to himself.
If it is, I need to see you, man. I miss you.
Absolutely. And somebody finally in the comments goes, "Hey, is the sound off tonight?" And John goes, "Oh fuck, my bad."
That's
Brendan's been talking to
awesome.
himself for the last hour plus. So there's like 3 hours of commentary, 1 hour of silence.
That is great. I mean, truly great.
All right.
Yeah, but well, two at a time. Maybe we'll have a place like that.
So my buddy, he's got a farm in Cadet, just outside of Potosi. He's been letting us hunt. Are you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So you second that? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. And so she's all in with this hunting shit. So we got 4 trail cams now. Well, we did till Saturday. Some guy come and stole 2. He got on the property.
How do you find them?
Well, we had one on a tree go like into the woods.
Well, this is kind of a typical slow night up here. We're just 4 or 5, 6 of us. We jump in some kind of doubles game, ring game. We just always have some kind of fun up here. I think Mike and Jody are going to practice a little bit later. I don't think we'll be here very late tonight. so I don't think I will be for sure. Those guys might be. Jody and Mike are known to play late some nights. I'm gonna. Yeah, Leonard Bloodworth did pass away last night. I heard. I think I heard like yesterday, late evening or early or last night. I can't remember exactly when. A lot of special people said things about him today, and apparently cared for him a lot. I never got to meet him, although I always been a big fan of his cues. I have a few of them. Now I think I'm gonna lock them up in the safe. Just always been a big fan of them. I think they play amazing, and I think there's some beautiful, simple cues that he's always made, and I've always been a big fan. So yeah.
My personality doesn't fit there. I knew it when I was driving from Fredericktown and I'm out there partying.
Cookie, I don't know about an Illinois. Well, I mean, actually, I take that back. I do know about an Illinois. I worked at 2 hotels, and neither one of them paid that rate. You know, I mean, I don't think I had anybody making less than $10 an hour at either location. Over here in Missouri, I can tell you that, like my brother's restaurant, I mean, I'll put an ad out and try to find employees, and I mean, I'm paying like $15 an hour, and it's hard to find good people. You know, these kids can make some amazing money there. Not just kids, adults, people, anybody. It's a very flexible work job, man. They make like $15 an hour at Crush Dread, and you know, and there's all kinds of places like that in St. Louis. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's not, and trust me when I tell you this, like, you know, we're not like hiring people that have like coming from, you know, Panera with 5 years experience. I mean, we're talking about hiring high school kids straight out of high school, and we tell them we'll pay them $6 an hour plus tips. These kids make 12, you know, $13 an hour, you know, just starting out. Now they don't get a ton of hours. You know, it's the restaurant life, but you know, I had kids getting, you know, $600 paychecks, $700 paychecks over the summer. You know what I mean? I take that back. I mean, I had kids making that much per week. Their paychecks were, you know, take home were almost, you know, $900,000. You can. My point is, I mean, nowhere pays that well. I mean, Target pays a minimum of like I think $12 to $13 an hour now. You know. That's what I'm saying. There's not I mean, the $8 an hour thing. I mean, I know there's places that pay that, and there's people that choose to work there, and there's people that have to work there, if you will. You know, but I mean,
it's no different. You're just using your brain to have a little
you know,
control over something.
I don't know what to say.
Nice kick, AJ.
AJ, what do you do?
Nice shot. Whatever. I don't know numbers. I racked the last one.
You know, and that, as far as I'm concerned, that's what the market is dictating, and that's why it's going up. It doesn't matter that minimum wage is, you know, $7.75 or $8.25 or whatever it is right now. It doesn't. I don't even know what it is because it doesn't matter because I haven't been able to pay anybody minimum wage in 10 years. I can't. I mean, in the last 8 years, maybe something like that. I don't think I've paid anybody hardly minimum wage. You know.
I'll play it. What are you going to do? You've always asked for weights. So
You know, I understand that Shop and Save, you know, is a penny pinching kind of business, and every dollar matters like that. You know, they're trying to keep their prices as low as they can. That's their thing. Yeah, and I totally get it. You know, I mean, I had some trouble at some of my hotels. You know, when you pay housekeepers like that. You know, but that's just
over to the other one.
all right. But that's all.
Never mind.
That's all. You know that some hotels are willing to pay for housekeepers. You know, and it makes hiring tough. I tell you, a friend of mine, Jeremy, and I were working at a hotel, and we got 200 applications in, and out of those 200, I picked like 11 to call, and I think I scheduled interviews with like, you know, 5 or 6 of them, and hired like 2 of them. And trust me when I tell you, I wasn't being picky. The other guy picked out 2 out of his 100 that he could even call. And I said, "Listen, man," I said, "you're going to have to go back through all those and find some more." I said, "You're not going to be able to be that picky here." You know, we were a city property, and you know the level of application we were getting was, I mean, just bad, really bad. I can't tell you how bad it was. And there's a lot of serious problems with the city of St. Louis. You know, I can tell you just from the level of applications that I get, you know, and that some of them were with the content on there and some of them was with just the standard in which they were. You taking off? Be careful. Oh, hi. Sorry. Yeah, so I mean, it was, I know. Trust me, I know. I mean, we would hire like, you know, just dozens of housekeepers hoping to get a couple good ones, you know. It's just, you know, it's brutal. People don't like to work. They don't want to work. Ask Mike Clark down in Farmington. You know, he hires a new roofing guy and pays him good. They don't last more than a day. They can't do the work. Not only they can't do it, they won't do it. You know, it's you're just, you know, I mean, I don't know. Like I grew up the hard way, man. In the back of the house in restaurants with classic chefs teaching me, you know, and my dad watching him work, and you know, it was just that shelf.
He doesn't want to be on this stream, but it's raised to 7 alternate break.
As long as you make them play good, that's all you got to worry about. As long as you make them play good. I know you can make the motherfuckers look good. You make them look real good.
That was our first thing when I told you, before we do anything, you gotta play good and you gotta be consistent. Outside that,
Gig and that starts at 11, so I got you.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to get out of here, guys. I'm going to.
Right there, Rodney.
I don't think they're going to play any more real matches or anything, so I'm going to go ahead and shut the stream down for the night. But I hope you guys had a little bit of fun here. Yeah, you know, I sold roofs for a little bit. It's hard just selling roofs, man. I mean, even climbing up on them and doing that kind of stuff, it's tough. Getting up there and actually doing all that work, man, is grueling work. And Mike Clark is a hard-ass motherfucker, man. He just is. A lot of respect for that, man. Mike Clark Construction down in Farmington, he does roofs, and he does them by himself, and he does them outstanding. And if you need one, you better ask somebody. So, you guys all have fun. Thanks for joining me, man. We'll be back. I don't know what all is going to be going on this week or this weekend. It might be kind of slow. It might be busy. I just don't know. I'm not sure if I'll be here or not, but John might be here in and out. Hopefully we'll have some more fun for you, and I will see y'all later.